the game, cause see the boxing voice.
ThaBoxingvoice.com live here with main event's own promoter, Duva. Kathy, I want to ask, how did this come about? Is it because it was a purse bid, a vacant title? How are you and Al Haymon doing business together when not too long ago there were a lawsuit in question, you versus Al?
Well, in a nutshell, there was a purse bid. And they paid a lot of money, and so we're very happy to be here.
So now, let's stay on that topic. He paid a lot of money for the fight. Obviously, your fighter benefits from that. Can you see a place where main events continues to do business with Al Haymon, or does it have to be situations where you're forced to in a purse bid situation?
You know, I presented a contract to Al Haymon's people just a month ago for a fight, so we're certainly willing. We did a deal with Yvonne Michelle for a fight up in Canada that took place in November. We made that deal. I'm open for business, but it seems to me that the only way to make deals happen with Al is when he is in the dominant position with the upper hand. Sometimes you just don't have that fighter and you can't be that guy. So when that happens, it's going to be hard.
Now this particular fight, being as though it was a purse bid, are there any, clauses in the contract where if Al guy wins, you guys get a rematch, or if your guy wins, Glaskov, does Al's guy get a rematch, or is this one and done?
It's one and done. Those are the rules, and that's why we went in this direction rather than the Wilder fight that was offered to us. For one thing, we got more money for this, but aside from that, there are no futures attached to this fight as there would have been in the Wilder situation.
Now, in the Wilder fight, how many options did they want from Glaskov had he won?
I'm not going to talk about that. It was we could not come to terms, and when offered an opportunity where we're free and clear when the fight's over to go out and manage my fighter's career, then that's the one I'm going to take.
Now, there's just so many fights that if promoters work together, fight fans would be a lot happier. I don't know if that would make more sense for the promoters. Do you think that there can ever be a time everybody works together? I mean, you look over at today's press conference, there was obviously CES and Top Rank doing a co-promotion with Terrence Crawford and Hank Lundy, and you've done those in the past. How can we come to a happy medium where everybody's working together?
I think certain players have to understand they can't run the whole business, and if they're willing to work with people on an equal footing as partners, there's no reason on earth why they can't. When we had our series on NBC, we had co-promoters on every one of those shows. In fact, we did some shows where we didn't have any fighter on the card. So main events can do it. And as I said, I presented a contract to Yvonne Michelle just a few weeks ago. It's the other side that wants to have everything their way that keeps killing deals.
Can we get some details as to that? That's probably the most anticipated fight now since Canelo, Cotto, and Mayweather-Pacquiao are gone and done. Everybody's looking for Adonis Stevenson and Sergey Kovalev to unify the division, to be one definitive champion. Like you said, you presented a contract. What exactly was the sticking point for the other side? What did they not like about the main event's contract?
They wanted Showtime to co-distribute the fight. Adonis Stevenson has no contract with Showtime. HBO is exclusive to Sergey Kovalev. They have only come together to co-promote twice, both the biggest fight of the decade. Sadly, that's not this. And, in those two cases, Showtime had Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson. Adonis Stevenson is no Mike Tyson. So, when we sat down at the table, my first condition was HBO distributes this fight by themselves or we won't bother talking. We went through all the talks, we agreed on every single term, and then they came back and said, oh, we want a co-distribution. So that's the one thing they knew, if they said it, it would kill the deal. So that's what they did. So unless they have a change of heart very quickly, this isn't going to happen, so don't hold your breath.
Would you consider it sabotaging? Because obviously when you first went there, you said, look, the only problem is going to be getting Sergey to get off of an HBO network since he's in contract with him. As long as you guys agree to that, we have a deal. Last day, they pull the one thing you said don't do.
Sabotage is a good word. Yeah, they asked for a guarantee. I gave them the guarantee. They asked for no strings attached, no options for HBO going forward. I got that for them too. When I finally got everything they asked for, 50-50 split, co-promoter, everything's equal. When we finally got to the point where everything was done, I had buildings on hold. Everything was ready. they come back with the first term that I said was non-negotiable, and they asked, can HBO and Showtime co-distribute in the beginning, and I said, if that's a term, then we're not going to have the conversation. So they understood, and now they're trying to position it as though this is a new idea, but it's not. So yeah, they sabotaged it.
Final question. Once, I guess, sometime in the future, Sergey Kovalev is finally a free agent. You haven't yet negotiated with HBO because obviously they're invested, and it's only right as a promoter to go to the network that's been paying you the money for that said fighter. So obviously they get first options, but if it were a world or a time came where Sergey wasn't tied to anyone, is the network that big a deal, or at that point with no contract you would entertain a fight with those two men on either network?
That is such a speculative question. It would be
too much hypotheticals.
Yeah, look, HBO is the network that has built every star in boxing in the last 40 years. We are very happy to be there, and we're very happy to stay there.
So is HBO or nothing for Sergey Kovalev?
That is the situation. We made our choice. I think we made a good one. Since last year when we re-upped with HBO, I mean, in 3 years, Sergey has gone from completely unknown, not even in Russia, to one of the top 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world with HBO. That is one hell of an accomplishment, and I challenge anybody to find a fighter that was built into the status of a superstar, of a top pound-for-pound fighter who didn't fight on HBO.
Well, you did it, Kathy, and we thank you, and we can't wait for this fight on Saturday and to see what's in the future for main events in 2016.
Thank you. We're very excited about it.
The sight in the game, 'cause see the boxing voice.